Hello everyone and welcome to NETCRYPTO, where you get important information and news about all coins and tokens of interest. And today we're going to be taking a look at the scam Bitcoin Hyper. Right, so Bitcoin Hyper is a scam, right? That's something that we've already established. So in this video, it's going to be a more technical video. As you saw on the thumbnail, scammers are cashing out your money to Binance, right, as well as to a DEX, right? So we're going to be going through the transactions. This is a forensic investigation. We went on the blockchain and we're checking exactly how the scammers are moving their money around. This is something that we occasionally do on the channel to show you exactly how these scammers are moving the money around, right? So without further ado, let's jump straight into the content. So something that is interesting before we jump is we see here scammers, they are saying on the X page, right? They are saying, let's see here, on the 10th of October, they are saying 23 million raised. This is key, right? Keep that figure, right? So let's jump in straight. So this is a text file. You will find it down there in the description of the video, right? If you want to go and check these transactions for yourself. So here you see we've got investor ETH in. What this means is all these transactions, I took the top 25 transactions, and these 25 transactions represent the biggest transaction investments into Bitcoin Hyper scam, right? So you see the biggest transaction obviously is the 84 ETH, right? What is actually interesting is all these 25 transactions, they account for almost 2.3 million US dollars, right? That's about almost 600 ETH, right? And the biggest investor is this wallet with the address ending 4669, this one, right? They started off by investing 40 ETH, right, on the 3rd of October. And then we see here on the 3rd of October, on the 3rd of October, they invested 40 ETH. They also invested another 84 ETH, and they also invested another 58 ETH. So the top investor invested almost 728,000. Yes, that's a staggering amount, but we've had investors in other scams who have invested over 1.5 million US dollars, but still 728,000 is still quite huge, right? So the top 25 transactions. So this address right here represents the investor address into the scam, and this address right here ending 97EB invest the scammer's address, which I call the collection address. So this is the address that is collecting all the ETH, right, from investors. So we now go a step further. Now, so now the scammers now start, once the money comes in to 97EB, this address right here, they now start to cash it out to other scammer addresses, right? So at the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you the addresses that you need to report, but it's important for you to watch all this video down to the end so that you understand the relationship between the videos and how the scammers are moving the money around. Okay, so now once the money has come out of the collection address, the money is now going to this address, several addresses. So some of these addresses not going directly in there. It's through some contract, some scammer contract to move the money around. So we've got several addresses, right? So we see here we've got 6A58, right, contract address, and then we've got the address of interest, which is DF37. So DF37 is actually what we call this is the address holding the funds. So that's the pot holding all the funds of the investors. So from there, this is the root of the scammers' addresses, right? That's where all the money comes in, and then from there, the scammers decide this money is going to go to cash out to Binance. This one, we're going to cashing out through a DEX, right? So let's go and check this address here on Etherscan, right? So that you can just get a glimpse of what that address, the holdings of the address and all that. Let's just give this thing a moment to do the verification, right? Let's just give it a moment. There we go. Okay, so we see that this address is currently holding 6.4 million, right? When I checked this on Friday, it was actually holding 6.6 million. So some cash outs have happened, and I'm going to be sharing them with you, right? And so you see here that currently the address is holding multi-chain 3.4 million, ETH only about 1.7 million, and then there are also different types of tokens on here that are being held into this token, coming to that figure, right? So this is the address of interest. This is where the scammers are holding all the money into this address, right? So from this address, we now we can actually now, they are actually sending money out to Binance, right, to a SEX, Binance. In this case, I've actually included this. This is what I call cash outs, right? So cash outs are being done in two ways. First, the cash outs are going to centralized exchange, which is Binance, and then there are other cash outs that are going through a DEX, right? So you see these cash outs, these three cash outs here that we see here, right? We've got here 1,200 ETH, 800 ETH, 1,200 ETH, 800 ETH, 602 ETH, 612 ETH, right? So this is the transaction hash. So you can actually copy this transaction hash and go and analyze it for yourself on Etherscan, right? So let us actually go to the cash out, the address that is actually cashing out, right? And then you can see these transactions, right, where they are actually cashing out the money. So you see here that this is the cash out address. As you can see, they've been like about 5 cash outs. So you can see, so we can actually change from ETH, we can change it to amount. You can see them here. About this also changed 2 days ago, they cashed out 3.3 million. Right, they cashed out 3.3 million, and we also see here 63 days ago they cashed out almost 5 million cashed out, right? 55 days ago 800,000 cashed out. We see 2.4 million cashed out, right? This is an ETH, all going to Binance, 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 Binance. So this address ending 6B5A is doxed to Binance. So this is how the scammers can be caught, because for them to be able to deposit to Binance, someone is KYC'd on Binance. For you to be able to trade these huge sums, to deposit these huge sums of money, you need to be KYC'd to Binance. So this is a key address, and I've included it at the bottom of this forensic notepad, so that you can actually report that. So this is the cash out to SEC. So in total, the scammers have cashed out 2,814 ETH, right? At an average value of 4,000, that's almost 11.2 million US dollars, right? So now it comes back to that figure that they had on the X page, 23 million raised. They've already cashed out 11.2 million US dollars, right? So that means almost 50% has been cashed out. So this is where, when the token launches, a lot of people will say, why is the price down, right? So the scammers have got different methods, right? We know the scammers, how they operate. So they can either dump the price on launch, because the money is gone already. They've spent the money, they've taken the money out, right? So on launch day, they can say that they can just drop the price. That's it. They drop the price. When you claim, the tokens you get is nothing compared to what you invested. Why? Because the scammers have cashed out already, right? Or they just outright go and block certain people from being able to actually claim their tokens, right? But now it's going to be extremely difficult. Almost all the projects that we have done in forensic investigation, it was incredibly difficult for the scammers to block wallets. Why? Because we can see that the wallet is blocked. So in all those projects, they deliberately drop the price, right, to control, right, to try and hide the fact that they actually cashed out. They just drop the price. They do a token dump, right, right from the launch. And then the other thing that we wanted to talk about here are the DEX cash out, or the OB cash outs, or obfuscation cash outs. So these are the cash outs where they are cashing out to other DEXs, and then eventually to a SEX somewhere, right? And that level of investigation, obviously, if you're a channel member, you can request it through email, right? So this is the DEX cash out. They are using COW, right? Coincidence of once protocol, right? It executes trades via multiple liquidity sources, making it harder to trace one-on-one transfers, right? But nothing is impossible for us here at NETCRYPTO. But of course, we can see here that all these transactions here, you can see they are going through COW. So what is actually interesting, though, is if you take this address, the schema address, also this schema address is receiving funds from the root address, right? the DF37. The money from DF37 is also going to 728E, just waiting on the sidelines. Yeah, like let's go and check this one out. So you can see in this address, we've got almost 5 million US dollars, right? And all the money that is being cashed out so far is going to cow, right? It's going to 3 days ago. You can see here there was 800,000 cashed out to cow, right? So you can see here there was almost 26 days ago 500,000 cashed out to cow. So you're going to be seeing some aggressive cash outs going on here. So it's most likely with this particular scam that we are going to be seeing a token, a price dump right from the launch. Token is going to drop right down. It doesn't mean that the token price is gone. The scammers will be deliberately dropping the price down because there is no liquidity. All the liquidity is being cashed out. As you can see, it's being cashed out in two ways: to Binance, right? And it's also being cashed out to Cow. With Cow, they haven't done much cash outs, as you can see, right? There's still 5 million on this address here, 728E. 728E, there's still 5 million in there. The hope is they're going to put this back into the liquidity pool at launch. But by the look of things, the money is not sitting in the root wallet. The root wallet, it's already been moved to another wallet ready to cash out, as you can see. So they don't intend to put this back into the liquidity pool, which would mean that, suggest that this is going to be an aggressive price dump, right, when they launch this particular one, unless they decide to put all the money back. But normally scammers don't give money back, right? But we just have to wait and see. Let's hope that this expose forces them to bring the money back. If they don't bring the money back, right? In fact, not even if, right now, you need to start, if you are invested into this, you need to start reporting these key addresses, right? So this address, this is the address that scammers are collecting the money from investors. From this address, they are moving it to this pass-through address via a contract, right? And then it's lending into this address here, DF37, right? So this is the dropping pot of all the funds. From here, the funds are split in two ways: going to SEX, right? The one that is going out to Binance is going through the wallet 6B5A, and the one that is going through the DEX, the cow coincidence of one's protocol, is going to 728E. So all these four addresses you need to report, especially DF37, 6B5A, 728A. So we can trace everything from this DF37, right? They might try to obfuscate now and introduce another root wallet, but I think it's a little bit too late now. They can do it, but this DF37, definitely this needs to be reported, right? And most definitely this 6B5A, because this is actually doxed. This, you can get a name from Binance of a person who is KYC'd for this address, but you need to go through the legal process. That's why I say, for those of you who have joined the channel membership, if you're a subscriber, thank you. But if you're a paid member, you can drop me an email and I can send you an individual report, right, of your actual investment, right, which you can now raise with the authorities, and you can go to Binance and request them to give you the details of whoever is behind that once a formal investigation with the authorities have been opened up. And Binance is actually pretty helpful with things like this, especially when you've got a trail of how the money is being moved around. So this is the forensic investigation that we have done for Bitcoin Hyper. It's pretty aggressive. You know, what are some of the options that we can expect the scammers have now? For me, from what I'm seeing on the blockchain, the scammers are most likely going to just dump the price. That's what I can see, right? They're going to, it launches, dump the price, right? Because they're usual modus operandi of an artificial price pump will not really work into this one, right? They might try it, but then that would mean a lot of investors are going to be blocked from claiming the normal because they've already cashed out over 50%, almost 50% of funds, and they've got another 25% waiting to go out through DEX. Sorry about that, right? So this is my view of this one. Let me know, right? If you've invested into this one, how much have you invested? And of course, a lot of you do ask me, so which tokens are the legit ones, right? So what I encourage you to do is to join the NETCRYPTO membership and become a paid member, right? Once you're a paid member, you're going to get access to the 100,000 strategy. We used to call this the NETCRYPTO strategy, but now it's the 100,000 strategy. It's my strategy in crypto, a mature approach to crypto, right? That involves a three-tiered approach, right? 75 tokens in total, aggressively managing our risk, right? And uh, having profits in a controlled, mature manner, right? So this you can actually see how I do that by joining the membership. Just watch episode 24. As soon as you join the membership, it will just give you the overall strategy and the numbers and everything, how they look. You've got access to my email. You can ask me questions. You also get to the video that actually shows the scammers who are behind this specific scam, this scam that we are talking about right here. They are doxed to the channel, they are doxed in a video on here, right? So this is my update for this one. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one or in the membership section.